Hi everybody, this is the Baseball Hut, the amazing, spectacular, terrific, the great one, the people's champion, your host, the Hut, and of course, please subscribe to this channel and like this video if you want to hear what a real New Yorker thinks. I am not sponsored by anybody. I do talk to you in the chat. Most these bigger Met YouTube channels do not do that. I will do that. May not go your way. But I do talk to you, unlike some of these other channels, which I will not mention. But anyway, here we go. As you know, Mets have a lot of free agents. I did a video on Friday discussing 12 of the free agents that the Mets have going into the off season. Now, obviously, stuff going on with the season, but there is interesting things to talk about. We're in August now, the middle of August, and there's always things to talk about. So I'm going to talk about today Brandon NIMMO, Mets center fielder. We know what's great about Brandon. He plays hard. He runs down the first. When he gets a walk or gets hit by a pitch, I think he's like the all-time Met leader in hit by pitches. He passed by former Met and absent outfielder Michael Conforto for all-time Met with the most hit by pitches. He's a free agent after the year. Over his career, he's got a 15.2 wins above replacement, which is very good. He's having a very good year. Coming into Friday, his wins above replacement was 3.1. Was one of the higher wars that the Mets have on the team. He's had almost over 1,800 at bats, 267 career hitter, 385 on base percentage over his career, though that's a little bit low right now for the season. I think it's 355. 820 for OPS. The OPS is low. Now, and his slugging percentage was about 440, which is fine. His OPS plus is 128, meaning that his slugging percentage is 28% higher than the average major leaguer. Now, he, as a player, he's a clutch player. He can hit a lefty. The one thing that I've learned about him from when the Mets first brought him up was how difficult an out he is late in the game. This is a guy who's going to get big hits late in the game. But he's not afraid at the moment. We sort of learned that in 2016 when the Mets were making that playoff run, that he was getting pretty big at bats and pretty big at hits and getting on base to help them make the postseason. So he has been a guy that's been that you don't want to face late in the game. Lefty, righty, none of those things. A couple of things. As an offensive player, there was talk when he came up that he wasn't going to be able to hit lefties. He was a left-handed hitter. But he's been very good. He kind of dispelled that, got rid of that idea when he started playing here. That he went from, and it was weird that he was so good on the bench at a young age. And that told me that he's got a mental toughness there. He's very mentally tough late in the game, and really is tough beginning of the game too. He's a very good leadoff hitter. He will work a pitcher. The biggest reason this offense has been good this year is because he takes a lot of pitches. He fouls off a lot of pitches. He's willing to take a walk. He's willing to take a hit by pitch, and just move the line, just get the line moving. So he's just about as good of a leadoff hitter as you're going to get in Major League Baseball. So he has qualities, and it's another thing. He came up with this sort of reputation of being very average defensively at best, and he's turned himself into an excellent center fielder. Usually when a guy is in his late 20s, early 30s, the defense starts to wane, but not with Brandon. He's worked very hard, obviously with positioning, with the outfield. I think the new regime has really improved on the quality of his play over the last 2 years defensively, but he's really taken a major step forward. It's a surprise he didn't make the All-Star team this year. I predicted that he was going to make the All-Star team last year, but he got hurt. And this is the negative about Brandon. Other than this year, Brandon's only played 100 games one other time in his major league career, and that was in 2018 when he played 140. All these other years, 2018 on, he has been injured and missed long periods of time. He's had issues with his neck, where he got whiplash catching the ball in the outfield. He's hurt his shoulder. The last game of the 2019 season, when he missed quite a few games, the last game, the game when Dom Smith hit the home run to win the game, he pulled his hamstring really bad. He ripped it out. So he's had these injuries that have popped up. He had the hand injury early in the season. He missed a couple the last season, and he missed a lot of time. He sort of has had these things pop up. He hasn't had that this year, thankfully. But these are things you got to take into account. He's going to be 30 years old next March. Is he the kind of guy you want to give it? He's going to be looking for a long-term deal. And when I mean a long-term deal, I'm talking about 7 years. Because he hired a new agent. He's got Scott Boras as his agent. And Boras is going to try to get as much money for him as possible. I would expect that he's going to be looking for something along the lines of George Springer. Probably 7 years, around $200 million. Is Brandon worth that? At his age, at 29, 30? I don't think so. That's a tough pill to swallow. Especially for 7 years. I wouldn't mind giving him a 5-year deal. But a 7-year deal, and he's not going to be a center fielder for the entirety of that contract. We will keep this on the side here as we get closer to the last day of the season, and when we get closer to the Mets clinching the division. That'll be a topic for the off season, obviously, and there's a lot of season to be played. We have October to think about, I think, and he's going to have a lot of teams after him, a lot. Maybe that team across town, although I think they're they've gotten cheap. It's weird how both teams have sort of are like the opposite now. One team wants to spend a lot, the other team doesn't want to spend anything. But there's going to be a lot of teams on Brandon. Probably the Phillies, probably those teams in Texas, the Rangers, the Astros, maybe the Dodgers, definitely the Dodgers. The Cubs, I could see him going there. The Chicago, he'd be closest to home. Maybe Seattle. Philadelphia. All the big teams. Maybe the Phillies. Maybe the Red Sox. You're going to see all these teams wanting to make him a player on their team. Because he's just as you know, he's a great kid. He's worked very hard. And he's one of these guys that there's actually been talk. I would mention this as well before I forget. The Mets talked to him at the All-Star break, asking him, telling him that they wanted to re-sign him to a contract. And usually teams don't do that unless they really are serious. But there was kind of word, which I felt a little uneasy about, was that they were going to make him captain of this team. I don't think he's good enough to be captain of the Mets. He's never made an All-Star team. Keep that in mind. He's never played a full season other than now, at the moment. Other than being sort of this hustle and being a good citizen award that he just recently won, he's never won any major awards as a player. He's never won MVP, Rookie of the Year. He's not somebody, when you look at him, he's not Pete Alonso. He's not Francisco Lindor in terms of just... he's a very good player. But we know who have been captains here. Keith Hernandez, Gary Carter, David Wright, John Franco. Guys that have won awards. They've been big stars here. Is Brandon that? Not really. So that's the one thing that I've heard that I didn't really like. That was going to be an incentive for him to come back here. I didn't really... I read that about a week and a half ago. I didn't really care for that. I don't think he's quite good enough to be a captain here. And I think it might be a little too early to name a captain, I think. Dave's only been retired 4 years. That's David Wright. I would kind of wait for that a little bit. Don't you think? You let me know in the comments section. Mets are playing great, and we have a lot to look forward to. I will post a lot of stuff in the community to keep an eye on that. When we get into September, when we get close to the magic number, you'll see some interesting, fun stuff up there. That's fun. And of course, there'll be some shorts up, probably one short a day, I would think. I want to just sort of experiment with that a little bit. And I want to thank you all for coming by. Don't experiment here when you subscribe. You want to hit that subscribe button watching this channel. So thank you for watching. Please subscribe. Like the video. Leave comments. I'll see you later.